All right, what is going? What is happening? How's everyone today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'm giving you guys my top 10 classes y'all should be using here on Rebirth Island. I normally like to do top 5s, top 8s, but today we're going a little bit crazy with it and doing a top 10. Before any further into the video, I want to give a massive shout out to Noti Gang. Y'all want to be featured in a future video. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, bell notifications turned on, comment down below Noti Gang, and of course, make sure to watch the video all the way through. That being said, let's jump into these setups. Okay, so jumping into our first gun here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Cold War AK47. This is an absolute banger of a gun. I got diamond camo on here on the Cursed Angel variant, so it actually looks pretty cool. Let's jump into this thing. First on this is going to be that beautiful groove suppressor. You gotta love this. It's the best suppressor for our Cold War AR, so we run that. After that, in the barrel section, we run the 20 Spetsnaz RPK barrel. This is the best barrel out there for this gun, so I wouldn't really recommend anything else. The underbarrel section, we got the Spetsnaz grip here for horizontal and vertical recoil control. This works beautifully on this gun. You for sure need it because of that recoil. On the magazine section, we got either the 45 round mag or the Bakelite 60. It's up to you guys, personal preference, but the 45 does look a little bit cooler here just because it actually does have the variant on there. And I mean, you also get a little bit more mobility out of this, so it's really not all that bad. And then, of course, here for our optic, we're going to go with pretty much the only option we ever use for our Cold War ARs, and that's going to be the Axle Arms 3 times. So this is going to be my full build here for this gun. Hope y'all like this one. Definitely give this one a shot. It's an absolute unit of a gun. Definitely try it out. All right, now let's take a look here at our second gun today, which is going to be the well gun. Absolutely love the well gun. It's probably one of my favorite SMGs to use. So let's jump into this. First thing is going to be that beautiful recoil booster. This is what we use on all of our Vanguard SMGs, so we're going to be running that here on this one. At that in the barrel section, we are going to go around the 120 millimeter Gawain short barrel. This is going to increase that fire rate. We used to run something like the 320 millimeter SA shrouded, but it's really not all that great anymore. So we just run the Gawain short, and that's going to be kind of our, our way to go. After that, in the underbarrel section, we're going to go through on the M1941 hand stop. We absolutely love the hand stop. It's pretty much like a top tier grip for a lot of our guns, and I just realized that our gun is now glitching out here, so that's actually pretty cool. Now, in the magazine section, we're going to go through on the 7.62 Gorenko. This is kind of what we run here a lot for those Vanguard SMGs. We run the Gorenko rounds, a lot of stuff, but it works really, really nicely here on this gun. And the ammunition side of things, you guys can go and run hollow point, or you guys can run Langton. It's up to you, personal preference. I found good success with hollow point here recently, and also with Langton. I'm just going to throw in hollow point here for right now. In the rear grip section, we're going to go throw on leather grip here for ADS speed aiming stability. I'm not trying to lose accuracy by throwing on something like the fabric grip here, just because, I mean, you tend to lose a little bit of accuracy when you drastically increase the fire rate of a weapon, and also I'm just really not trying to do that, so we're going to throw in the leather grip here. In the optic section, we're going to go through on the slate reflector. This is going to be my optic of choice here on a lot of these weapons, so just go throw this on there. In the stock section, we're going to go through on the removed stock here for movement speed, sprint to fire, and aim down sight speed. This is going to make this gun unbelievably mobile, so I absolutely love that. And then down into the perk section here, we're going to go make it even more mobile. We're going to throw on acrobatic here as our perk 1 for movement speed and sprint to move speed. And then, of course, down at perk 2, we're going to go throw on quick here to increase our sprint speed. So this is my full build here. Absolutely love this thing. Don't know why it's glitching out, but it still works unbelievably good. It's one of my favorite SMGs to use right now. Now take a look at another SMG I think a lot of people love. That's going to be the Owen gun. This is actually also a tracer variant here. I mean, I stripped all the attachments off, so it's really not looking like anything crazy, but it's like one of the ones from like Valentine's Day or something like that. But let's jump into this here real quick. First thing, obviously, recoil booster. We ran that on the well gun. Next up, we're going to be throwing on the Hawkinson 142 millimeter rapid barrel. This is really, really good. I've ran all these barrels in here before, but right now I love the rapid, and I think that's just like my go-to right now for those close quarters engagements. On the underbarrel section, we're going to go through on the M1941 hand stop. That's just the best attachment out there by far for this gun. You guys can try and get away with running the skeletal. I just personally don't run the skeletal if I'm running that rapid barrel, just because, I mean, the recoil, you do need to be able to control it, and the hand stop's going to help with that. In the magazine section, we're going to run the 7.62 Gorenko 72 round drum. This is the only way I'd recommend for you guys to run this weapon. I don't really find any inherent benefit to run any of these other magazines in here. I mean, increased fire rate and also, 72 rounds in a magazine. It's unbelievably good. So we run this. In the ammunition side of things, we're actually going to go through on the hollow point here or Langton. It's kind of like up to you guys. Like I said, with that well gun, personal preference, hollow point or Langton works out beautifully. In the rear grip section here, I think I actually forgot to take this one off, but we're running leather grip here. This is also one of those cases where the accuracy is going to be lessened quite a bit if we throw on the fabric grip, so we just run leather on this, and that works out really nice. In the optics section, we're going to go through on the NIDAR Model 47. This gives you the most clear picture to use for a red dot sight. You guys can definitely run the slate reflector, and I've done that plenty of times, but I just recently have kind of switched over to run the NIDAR Model 47, and this is kind of what I'm sticking to right now. In the stock section, we go and run the remove stock here, as this helps us make, the max mobility possible, so we really like that. And then in perk 2, or perk 1, my bad, we're going to be running acrobatic here to increase our overall movement speed and sprinting move speed. And then in perk 2, we're going to go throw on quick to help with that beautiful sprint speed. So this is my full build here. Absolutely love this thing. Super good gun. Just that magazine sometimes gets in the way a little bit, but other than that, really, really good. All right, for our next gun up, we're going to be taking a look at the Automaton, aka the Auto John. That's kind of like what I like to call it here nowadays. But first taking muzzle category, we're going to go throw on actually the MX Silencer. So the MX Silencer is an attachment of choice here for a lot of my Vanguard ARs. It just happens to work really nicely, and they change it so it does help with your recoil control, which is very, very good. So I really like that. Now in the barrel section, we're going to go choose the Zach 600mm BFA barrel. I've seen people try to use the Anastasia sniper barrel, and that's actually pretty decent. But for me personally, I feel like the BFA barrel works out a little bit better in terms of overall just making it more of a laser beam. And so I think this is the way to go. In the underbarrel section, we're going to go through on the M1941 hand stop, the last thing you guys get in this category. So go run that. In the magazine section, we're actually going to throw on the 6.5 Sakura 75 round drum. This is going to increase our magazine ammo capacity to as large as it possibly can go. This is the basic ammunition type that comes with the gun, so you're not losing out on anything. And I just think this is kind of the way you guys should be running this weapon. In the ammunition side of things, this is not really up for debate here. Like we were with the SMGs, we're going to throw on lengthened here to increase our bullet velocity. We got to make sure our bullets hit faster, specifically with an AR, because this is our long-range weapon. So the faster they can hit their target, you know, the better. After that, in the rear grip section, we are going to go and throw on, I believe it was the polymer grip here, my bad. For flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, you normally don't run polymer on a lot of guns, but for this one in particular, it actually works out pretty nicely, so that's why we got that. Now in the optics section, we're going to go through on the G16 2.5x. This really helps out, like, in terms of overall magnification, obviously, but it's also just the perfect, you know, sight for a lot of, you know, stuff here, just because, you know, outside that 2.5x range, that's probably like your indicator of when you should or should not engage something, because if it's too hard for you to be able to see through that sight, it's like, okay, maybe I should reevaluate what I'm doing and maybe find somebody else a little bit closer. Also, specifically on Rebirth Island, if you're outside that range, find somebody closer. There's a hard chance there is somebody that's going to be closer to you. Now in the stock section, we're going to go through on the Anastasia padded here for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. I personally would love to be able to run something else like the Zach Skeletal, but because it actually looks cool in its variant, but the Anastasia padded is just kind of the way to go. It a little bit sucks that, you know, the stock changes like half the gun. Gotta love variants for that reason. I wish they would change that, but you know, it is what it is. Now for our perks here though, we're actually going to go throw on tight grip as our first perk. This gun, we really want to make sure our shots are going in, you know, in the right direction, because it has a tendency to kind of make stuff go all over the place. And with all these attachments, we've definitely, you know, negated all those effects. So this is definitely going to help further that. Now in perk 2, we're going to go throw on fully loaded here, of course, for that maximum starting ammo capacity. So this is going to be my full build here. Definitely love the Automaton, aka the Auto John. This thing's really good. Give it a shot. Okay, so next up, we're going to be taking a look at the Vargo 52 assault rifle. This is the ferrofluid variant here. This one, actually in particular, I absolutely love the Vargo. I think it's really good as an AR or as an SMG. I'll build it out here as an AR for you guys, just so you can use it, because that's probably what primarily most of you guys will be using it as. So let's go through this. Muzzle category, GRU suppressor. Obviously, we're running this, you know, as a true AR, so we need that GRU. Barrel section, we're going to throw on the 18.6 Task Force. This is just the best barrel. Also comes with the variant here, which is pretty cool. In the underbarrel section, we're going to go throw on the Spetsnaz grip, which also does come with a variant. So this blueprint is, you know, really nice for that reason. So Spetsnaz grip, horizontal and vertical recoil control. In the magazine section, you guys can either run the 45 or you guys can run the Spetsnaz 60. For a primary AR, usually speaking, I run a 60. I've been just kind of preferring that over a little bit more mobility, just because, I mean, I like being able to put more shots down range, and sometimes it does help to have extra rounds in the magazine. And then for our last attachment here, running the Axial Arms 3 times, which is really good. So that's gonna be my full build here for this gun. Pretty much the exact variant you get, aka the ferrofluid. So go ahead and try it out. Go ahead and buy it if you really want to. Vargo is a top tier meta AR. Next up, let's take a look here at the Kilo 141, a good old Modern Warfare weapon. We gotta love this thing. So let's jump into a build here for this. I don't use this at particular long range, so that's gonna reflect on the build. First thing though is Mono Suppressor. Obviously, you gotta run this on all of our Modern Warfare weapons. It just makes sense. Next up in the barrel section, we're running the Singard Arms 19.8 Prowler. This does everything the SOCOM 16.6 barrel does, but just does everything better. So that's why I'd say to use that exclusively. After that, in the underbarrel section, we're in the Commando foregrip here, as the Commando foregrip is just kind of like what I like to run on pretty much a majority of my Modern Warfare ARs. In the magazine section, we're in that 60 round magazine. I mean, I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what I like to run. So go to run the 60. And then in the optics section, like I said, this isn't a super long range AR. So you guys can actually, you know, go and do something a little with it. If you guys want to run the VLK, you definitely can. But me personally, as of recent, I've been using something like the Corp Combat Hollow sight, as that's kind of like my go-to, or maybe something like the PBX7 Hollow, which is the identical variant of the Corp Combat. It just looks a little bit cooler in my opinion. So you guys can run the PBX Hollow 7, you can run the VLK 3x optic, or the Corp Combat Hollows. It really does not matter. Just go and run any of those three and you'll be perfectly fine. But this is my build for this thing. Like, I actually love the Kilo. I mean, I just don't use it too much here as of recent, just because there's some other real good ARs out there that I prefer, but it's still really good. In the spirit of some Modern Warfare stuff, we're going to give you guys a build here for the PP19 Bison. We gotta love the Bison. They got pretty much one of the biggest buffs here in Modern Warfare, Warzone, Vanguard, Warzone history, whatever you want to call it. But this thing got massively buffed, so we got to use this thing, throw this in the top 10. First thing, mono suppressor. Obviously got to run the mono on this thing. Barrel section with the 8.7 steel here for damage range, bullet velocity, and of course recoil control. This is the best barrel out there for this thing, so go ahead and run this thing. And the laser section, we're going to go throw on the 5MW laser for hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. I mean, laser visible to enemies, it does not really matter at all. Don't even worry about that. Just run the 5MW. Skipping the magazine because we don't need that. It's got like 64 round stock, so we pretty much have an extended mag already. We're just going to run the stipple grip tape on here for ADS speed and sprint to fire. It gives you a little bit of aiming stability issues, but I really don't ever notice that, to be honest. I mean, you're using it at such close range anyways that it realistically doesn't really matter. And then for our last attachment in the stock section, we are running the no stock attachment, or you can run the Corvus skeleton stock and you'll be perfectly fine with that. So either or, it's up to you guys. I ran no stock when I was dropping some 30 kill gameplays with it, so this is kind of what I've been really liking. So this is my full build for this thing. It's also the Chuck Walla variant, which it's kind of like a little bit funny. It's my variant. That's the only reason I have this variant, because I mean, it's really not all that cool looking. It just has my name in it. That's it. All right, now let's take a look at the OTS9, aka the Cold War SMG that was meta for absolutely ever, because it was really good and it's still really good. So let's show you all build here for it. First thing, muzzle, obviously grew suppressor. We got to run that. In the barrel section, we're on the 8.1 Task Force barrel, which is really nice. Love the Task Force. Skip the inner barrel section, going to the magazine. We're throwing on the VDV 40 round fast mag. That's pretty awesome. We don't ever run the Spetsnaz 40 just because the reload speed's chalked, even though it looks cool. The reload speed is chalked, so we run the fast mag. Now in the rear grip section, we're running the Serpent Wrap here for increased ADS time, which is really good. And then for our last attachment on this thing, we're going to be throwing on the KGB skeletal stock, which is overall going to help out our mobility, our strafe speed, so on and so forth. This is my full build here for this thing. We use this. I was dropping some 30 kill gameplays here recently with it, because it's just real good. Like, seriously, like, I like it a lot. All right, let's jump into a build here now for our number 9 slot with the MP40. The MP40 is really good. I mean, I think you guys should definitely be using this. You probably see it on ground loot quite a bit. It's probably like my favorite ground loot weapon to pick up besides the Owen gun, and for good reason, because you can put a lot of attachments on here to make it pretty solid, but this is by far going to be the best build right now. So let's jump into it. Muzzle category, recoil booster, obviously. Barrel section, we're going to throw on the VDD 189mm short barrel for increasing damage range and limb damage. It decreases headshot damage. We're not really too worried about that. This is just kind of the barrel we should be running. After that, in the underbarrel section, we got to run the M1941 hand stop, wherever that is. I actually forget. There we go. My bad. I was just scrolling over it. But recoil control and accuracy, this is what we run on this thing, because it is going to bounce around a little bit because we don't have that Krausnik barrel on there. So we're running this thing. In the magazine section, the 7.62 Garanko 45 round mag. This is what we've been running for a long time. So I wouldn't say you guys should run anything else. Now on the ammunition side of things, go ahead and run either lengthened or hollow point. Up to you personally. I've seen people try to run incendiary here still, so you guys can kind of realistically experiment around and see what works best for you. But for me, it's hollow point or lengthen. It just is what it is. Now in the rear grip section, we're going to go through on actually stippled. Here's the first one for recoil recovery and initial firing recoil, just because this gun likes to bounce around a decent bit, so I'd recommend maybe you just run stipple just to control that. Now in the optics section, this is where you can get a little bit crazy with it. Actually, really not all that crazy, but you get basically run either the slate reflector, or you can go down and run the iron sights, because the iron sights are really easy to look through. So it's personal preference at this point. You get a little bit of an ADS benefit though, running the iron sights. You can see here, aimed on sight speed, versus the slate reflector. It gives you no cons, but I mean, it's just a red dot, so you don't get that benefit anymore. But I mean, hey, you know, choose what you want, either the reflector or do you want the iron sights with a better ADS benefit. So it is what it is. Stock section though, 33M folding, the top stock you get, sprint to fire, movement speed, that's it. And then down in here in the perk section, we're going to go throw on Brace here for initial firing recoil. That works out really nicely on this weapon. And then down in perk 2, we're going to go throw on Quick here for that increase in sprint speed, making its overall move around the map just a little bit faster. So this is my full build here for this thing. Love this thing. The bioluminescent variant. Unfortunately, the attachments, once again, kind of chalk the variant, so maybe don't buy this one. It looks still cool nonetheless. Now, last but definitely not least, one of my favorite try-hard assault rifles to use, the C58. Apart from that EM2, love the EM2 as well. We're going to throw in the muzzle. This is going to be the agency suppressor on here. Next thing up is going to be the 18.5 task force. My bad. I was kind of stumbling over some words there, but the 18.5 task force. The antibarrel section, we throw on the field agent grip here for horizontal and vertical. This works out real nicely, so I absolutely love this. And then in the magazine section, you can either run the 45 or the Stenag 55. Don't ever go run the Salva 50 round fast mag. That doesn't make a difference. The reload speed, if you ever use the C58, you'll notice that it's actually pretty damn fast anyway. So either run the 55 or the 45. It's literally up to you. There's no like real downside. You can't go wrong one way or the other. So I'll just put the 55 on here just for the sake of the video. Now, the optics section, though, once again, to finish this whole thing off, the axe arms 3 times. This is what we run on all of our Cold War ARs. You just can't go wrong with it. You don't need anything more, nothing less. This is just the perfect thing to run. So this is my full build tier. That's been my top 10. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Just so much from Cap. Don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.